Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ministry, and this is the ministry. I am your pastor and host. Please inform somebody out there, tell them that the ministry is online. Inform somebody to tune in to their Facebook, YouTube accounts, and just let them know that Pastor Chiloba and his friend, Pastor Father Katete from the Anglican Church, are live in the studio. Father Katete, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Pastor. How has it been?
It's been tough, Father Katete. That's why you ran away from me.
No, I didn't run away. You know that I went for ministry. Those of us that have got this passion for the rural areas, we had a wonderful time in Chama, and we had a beautiful time. God was gracious to us, and we are able to reach out to people in the rural areas. It's ever sweet to be there, because it's very hard to reach those rural areas. But when an opportunity has arisen, and God has just given that opportunity to be there, it is wonderful.
The last time you talked about it, before we go into our subject, please tell the nation. I know Team Camnet, those that have been watching, they know that you are part of the family here, but there could be those who are discovering Camnet TV on daily basis, and they say, Father Katete, is it from the Catholic, from where? And I want you to talk a little bit about what you are doing in the rural areas, because that's a blessing.
My name is Katete Jackson Jones. I'm an Anglican priest. Went into ministry after seminary training, 1998. That's when I was ordained as a priest for the Anglican Church. And I'm grateful to God that we are running an outreach program for children who are vulnerable in the community. And so we have a community school here in Lusaka, Court St. Matthias Community School in Ngombe, and in Chama we are running a program for the withdrawal and prevention of girls from child marriages. And right now we were privileged that we partnered with the Canadian Embassy to sensitize the community in the rural areas and some of the dense areas in Lusaka against child marriages. So we had a training of 7 chiefs in Chama who we wanted to share with them the dangers and the vice of child marriages, where children are not able to go to school. They are forced into marriage instead of them being trained to do education, so they can be able to empower their own families. Most of them, their children are malnourished. Most of them children die in infancy because of lack of education for the little girls. Can you imagine as young as 13 years old, they have got babies at the back, and it means they stop school. They have to take care of it's basically children bearing children, and they cannot take care of them. And we had a training, and the hospital was telling us that every month they do cesarean section for 16 mothers, and 12 of them are under 14 years.
No.
That means that the number of girls being impregnated at a very tender age is very, very high. So we as a church cannot just sit back and do nothing. It is important that when God has shown you something wrong, you need to be proactive and do something about it. And that's the reason why we have gone into this, so that we can be able to help our own communities.
So now tell me, Father Katete, when you say 16 and the majority of those are children
under 14 years.
Under 14 years.
Meaning that 13 years, a girl for 13 years is giving birth. So meaning that possibly impregnated at 12 years. So if you impregnate a girl at 12 years, that's really a baby. How can you do that? Where are our morals?
Isn't that a crime?
It is criminal offense. Unfortunately, our laws does not talk about marrying underage as criminal law. Instead, they use what we call defilement laws. So there's defilement laws that tell you that if you have sex with an underage, then you are liable for imprisonment. But in this case, we have got two scenarios of child marriages. There's child marrying a fellow child and adult marrying children. That's the context. So we as the Church of Jesus Christ, we consider this as an abomination. We cannot allow this. Our Zambian system has got dual legal system, and that is the traditional legal system and the statutory legal system. So the dual legal system, you are allowed to get married when the girl has reached puberty level. And puberty level, a girl can reach at 10 years. Puberty level, a girl can reach at 12 years. And it means that you are able to marry at that age, which is really doesn't make sense. Something wrong with a medulla oblongata in that sense. So as children of God, when you see something wrong, you call the elders of the city. You remember, the elders are supposed to be the gatekeepers. The elders are supposed to be the ones to know that what is going on in the community is right or wrong. And the chiefs in this context, we mainly condemn them because we feel that what they're doing is wrong. But very little time do we give to them to train the chiefs, to open up their minds. And I tell you, Pastor, by the grace of God, we had so much favor in Chama that we were supposed to reach to 3 chiefs, and we had 7 chiefdoms coming, 7 chiefs, each one coming with 3 indunas, with a capasso, the chief retainer, and we had about 70 pastors coming together to how best can we handle this matter. It was fantastic. Yesterday I got and councillors as well, because some of the councillors are in the council chambers. How do they react to such abomination in their communities? Because we are literally wiping out the next generation of leaders. If they are not trained, if they have this knowledge, they have not gone to school, how are they going to lead the people? Those are the people who are supposed to become chiefs in the next generation, but have not been to school. What kind of chiefs are we going to have? Those are supposed to be the doctors and teachers and pastors. What kind of pastors are we going to have who have never been to school? It is important for us to preserve our own communities. We need to do something about this. Better we go out there into the community and be able to help them out, be uplifted. I'm not talking about churchism, about your church, my church, and other people's church. We're talking about kingdom mentality here. The kingdom of God needs a concerted effort from all of us to work together and forget about denomination boundaries or barriers, so that we can help our communities to raise a next generation that will be able to uplift the standards that God really wants.
I want to ask you, Father Katete, by the way, tonight, as you know, we're going to start discussing human rights versus the Bible. Human rights versus the Bible. Now, what you have just told me, in fact, forms the platform of where we are going. Those children under 15, 12, 14, being pregnanted.
Is it a right for them?
That's right. Isn't that violation of rights of the child? Are they mature enough, honestly speaking, that somebody at 14 should be carrying another child?
It's actually an abuse. It's actually an abuse. This is abomination, if we can use that terminology in the context of human rights. We cannot allow children to be abused in such a manner. At that tender age, they're supposed to be learning and acquiring skills, survival skills, for them to live to the next level. At the time they're supposed to be learning and acquiring the skills for them to live, that's the time you are chopping off their future and caging them into marriage. This should not be on. it means that they're losing out their childhood experience. Instead of them being trained, instead of them coming up to say, as a child, I need to learn how to survive. What happens when my parents die? How do I live? And the skills are supposed to be transferred to them. At this level, even before the skills are transferred to them, they're impregnated. Their bodies are not even mature to carry a pregnant. And this is the case of the biological case. You know very well that the body mechanism for women, when they are not mature, it means that the waste system can be perforated. You know about the fascicular issues, where the bladder can be perforated, and wherever somebody is, the bladder urine begins to come out. And in the villages they say, no, this one has been bewitched, that's why urine is coming out. Sometimes it may not even be urine, it may be feces. The fecal matter begins to come out, and wherever somebody is smelling. And they think that person has been bewitched, not knowing that being forced into early marriage at a tender age. And what has happened now is that the biological system have been affected. Who has done that? How can we allow that kind of thing to happen? As the Church of Jesus Christ, we should not allow that kind of thing to happen. There's need for us to educate our masses so that they understand. And these are the principles of God. A child is a child. A child is under the care of the parents. And you know that the decision of the parents covers the child. You know that even in the cases, when you receive a case, it does not just fall on you. It is covered even on the children's children. And it's in the same manner when you receive a blessing, the blessing does not just end with you. It covers you and your children and the children's children. And so if you are a case, it means you are endangering the lives of these children. Remember, life is sacred. That's the right word for us to use in terms of human rights, is the sanctity of life. Since life is sacred, it is holy unto the Lord. Life belongs to God. It does not belong to you and me. It belongs to God. He is the giver of life. So from that perspective, we need to respect that which God has ordained and created from the very beginning. He has preserved life himself.
This small write-up I have, Father Katete says, human rights are based on principles of respect for individuals. Respect for individuals. Now, I still cannot understand, in Zambia, you mean if somebody pregnates a minor, let me call them a minor, at 14, 15, 16, you mean they can't be sued?
According to the rules, if they use the term for defilement, because we have not yet passed a law for child marriages. They're using the law for defilement, meaning that if you have sex with somebody who's under 16 years old, it means you have defiled that person. So it is need for you to be imprisoned. You are liable for imprisonment.
How many have been imprisoned?
Well, quite a number of reporting. The issue here is we are only getting statistics of the reported matters, and statistics of those not have been reported are not there, because the bigger number, this happens in the villages, yes, in the families. Because if you take your cousin to the police, and then what happens to your relationship? If you take your uncle to the police, what will happen to your relationship? Things of that nature. So what you do is you cover the dirty under the carpet, and that's what has been happening. And most of our children in the communities have been defiled, and things are hidden under the carpet.
But still, Father, my wife and I were privileged to be in the States and saw one police officer who was being interviewed by Oprah. This gentleman, a police officer, was so hard on drug addicts and those who were selling drugs, those who were smoking. He was putting them out of business, and a very tough cop. When he discovered his son was in there. He made sure that he had evidence. And he arrested his son. And the son was prosecuted and sent to jail for many years. Even when he was going to jail, they showed him on Oprah as they pronounced the judgment on the man. He was going to jail with a heavy sentence. And the man cried. He wept. When Oprah was asking him, why were you crying? Didn't you have those feelings that it's my son? I liked what he said, and that thing has remained on my mind. He said, Oprah, do you realize that the other people are sending to prison, they also have parents? How do parents feel of that? Those children. They also come from families. So here now, he says when he discovered that his son was in drugs, he made investigations and he caught him red-handed and surrendered him to the police. What he said was, Oprah, if we are going to have a clean society, we should separate professionalism from our feelings and the relationships. We must be professional. It's not because, oh, this one is a son to Father Katete, so I want to deal with him, I will deal with other one. Professionalism must be there. Now, I say this in relation to the fact that those that are watching us today and those families who cover up such evils, they are just doing themselves a disservice, because that young man was on parole, I think, after some years, about 16 years, he came out of prison and Oprah interviewed him. And you know what he said? He said, I thank God for my father. Had not my father led me to be prosecuted, I could have been underground, because many of my friends have come out, they are dead, they are long gone. But the action Dad took has helped me to find Jesus in prison. I've come out a better person than I went in, and they hugged with the father.
Wow.
It was an emotional move.
Wow.
So here we are. Why should we protect criminals in society, Father?
This is the key word that people need to understand is integrity. Integrity means that you are faithful to the principles. A wrong is wrong. A right is right. So if a wrong has been committed by yourself, you need to surrender yourself. When the wrong has been committed by your child, you need to ensure that the wrong is dealt with. Otherwise, you are planting a bad seed that you yourself, you regret having not done anything about it. I did something nasty to my family at some point. My young brother, he was working for a company. Pastor, the company I was working for, they were making peanut butter. The chimponde. You know, these groundnuts and the like. So they put them in the middle of the night. Some of the people who were working there stole the peanut butter, the chimponde. And they came to get everyone who was on duty that night. So he said, no, me, I've run away. I cannot be bundled together with those who were stealing, and yet I never stole anything. So I said, no, you need to go to the police and clean yourself. Go and clear yourself. Pastor, I arrested my young brother. I took him to Matero Police, where the rest of the friends were, and he was locked up there. I said, pass through the system. Let them know that you never did anything wrong. And you know what happened? Instead of the police being happy, that I took that decision against my own blood. The police wanted me to begin to bribe them. I refused to be bribed. I said, this matter, the process is that when they come from here, they're supposed to be taken to court. Let the court judge. So I signed for him after spending a night or two there on police bond. I took him home. He went home, and after 1 month, the police called, said, no, that case, there's need for you to come over here so that we can discuss the matter. I said, no, this matter is supposed to be taken to court. And then the matter, they never took it to court. We took the matter to court. Ourselves, we presented the paper there in court, and the police were now called by the court to go and take the matter there. And the goodness is that the boy was acquitted. Now, here is the paradox. Do we as children of God think that doing the right thing is good? If a child, an uncle has defiled your child, is it right for you to take that uncle to the police? Is it right for you to do that?
You know, Pastor, this, we cannot even say yes or no. The answer is yes. Because I'll tell you what, there are many viewers there who are watching us. They know that they are like a father would be sleeping with the daughter. And they say, don't report him, because if he goes to jail, who will be keeping us? A lot of cases.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have handled those.
Yes.
And the girls are suffering inwardly because their own biological father.
Because they are being tortured mentally.
That's what I'm saying.
They are being tortured spiritually.
Yes.
They are being tortured physically. In this context, if we think it is keeping the family intact, we are losing it. Because what will happen now is that all the children, even their mental ability is affected. They are being killed. So there's need for us to rectify the matter. For us to rectify the matter is to do restitution of the family, cleaning up, that whatever we have done wrong, Lord, forgive us, and let the punishment. Being forgiven, it does not mean you run away from punishment. Being forgiven does not mean that you evade punishment. Being forgiven, it means that you are ready to be punished for the wrong you have done.
Like the Bible is very clear that no sin will go unpunished.
Every sin will be punished.
So when God says I love you, it doesn't mean that he is not going to deal with that.
To deal with the sin.
He will deal with it.
Exactly.
In love.
If you saw Jesus Christ, the time those women, the woman was caught in adultery, he didn't just defend the woman. He said, never go back to this. This is bad. So you don't protect sin because of whatever circumstance. Sin is sin and must be considered as sin, black and white. That's it. So if we are able to protect and cleanse our community, there's need for us to wipe out evil and uphold integrity.
I've got a problem, Father Kateta. To be honest with you, I know in Europe, I know such things go on. But at the same time, at what point are we going to have people coming out? What happened, the guy?
It just went black.
I noticed that.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We sincerely apologize for that technical challenge. We know and trust that you are still praying for the station and believing God that one day we will perfect our game. Father Katete, we're talking about, sorry for that interruption, we're talking about families concealing. This business of father sleeping with daughter, daughter sleeping with cousin, for fear that they might go to the police. Don't you think it's too traumatizing for the girl?
Not just for the girl, even they're enslaving themselves. Everyone involved in that circus is actually cursing themselves. There's need for them to be cleansed. There's need for them, for the Lord to take his course. Punishment needs to be exerted on them. Because if they don't do it, it means that thing will keep on repeating itself. And the whole family will live in bondage. And these are the people that live with resentment. You are damaging the ego of the girl, her mind. So she feels like she's dirty, she's not treated, she's nicely, she's not respected, she's not honored. And the father really needs to surrender himself to the police and say, I've done what is wrong. That's what the prodigal son did. I don't deserve to be given the right to be called your son because of the wrong that I have done. That's the restitution. That means you are ready to be cleansed. You are ready to be set apart and really to be to renew your mind. Our God is a God of new beginning. He's a God of second chance. Once you come back to your senses and say, Lord, I am sorry, God will give you an opportunity to live again. That is very, very bad. We need to do something about it. The father himself is listening. If you are listening, I can assure you that you are living under a curse and under bondage. There's need for you to report yourself to the police and start afresh in your life, without which you will never.
I think we have gone off again. Children of the Most High God, we are so grateful. Once again, our apologies. You know, we want to zoom in with my father here on the human rights versus the Bible. And in due course, we'll bring lawyers here by the special grace of God. But my father and I have just been caught up in one of the missions that is doing in Chama and around the country is to come to the aid of the girl child.
Yeah.
Am I right? Father?
Yes, the vulnerable ones.
The vulnerable ones, boys and girls.
Yeah.
So in that, we have just established also that there is a lot of abuse by adults pregnanting 14 years and below. That is inhuman. And I pray that the Zambia police will move into such cases.
Yeah, we're talking. We did a training. The training, by the way, was covering the chiefs, the councillors, and heads of government. And the man in charge of the police in Chama is called Chabe. I think he must be a Bemba man.
Chabe.
Chabe. Yeah. There's need for them to set the tone by arresting at least 10 from each chiefdom, defilers, so that they sound the alarm that this is wrong. that even the police themselves, if they do that in conjunction with the chiefdoms, then we are going to show the people that we are working together to eradicate this vice in the community. Because you are robbing the community of the brain that God has invested in the lives of these children.
Come on.
Boys and girls who can take these chiefdoms to the next level. If you are leading people who are not educated, illiterate for that matter, it means you are doing yourself a disservice. Somebody was telling me that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you are leading and allowing yourself to be led by ignorance, then you are not doing what God has called you to do. You are wasting time. But the fact that God has given you life, He wants you to do something about this. That the doctor in Chama, Dr. Kamanzi, is a Rwandese refugee who has offered himself to work in Chama and has worked there tirelessly as a district medical officer now. He has been the surgeon for the district. And the time he was given an opportunity to make a presentation. You remember we had all these departments. It was packed at Farmers Training Center, FTC in Chama. We had almost 120, 130 people around and doing the learning and sharing of ideas. It was wonderful. I've never had such kind of a commitment before when I go to these rural areas. But this was packed with the chiefs and indunas and the pastors in Chama. I'm so grateful for the pastors for the commitment. Pastor Mvola, Pastor Kumwenda, and all the pastors, the senior pastors of Chama, that we came together to join forces. We had people from Chief Kambombo, Chief Chivale, Chief Tembwe, Chief Chikwa, Chief Chifunda, Chief Muliro. Everyone coming together. By the way, one of the chiefs has got a PhD as a pastor. He was with SDA, and he was so touched that I never knew that we can have people who love the villages so much. I said, I'm grateful. It's an opportunity that God gives to us. How best can we empower the chiefs with knowledge? We're not talking about bribing them with money, but giving them the knowledge that once they do this, this is wrong. We have got another law that is just dormant. This is impregnating or marrying a girl or a child who has been to school, a school leaver. You are not supposed to marry a child who has been in school until after 2 years. Even if a teacher marries a child who has been in school within 2 years, it means that teacher must be fired or they are imprisoned for 15 years.
And that is according to the law of Zambia.
According to the Zambian law that we have right now, that you are there to protect, it's called an Education Act. It's there to protect children who are going to school. But we're not making use of them. You will see that a teacher, particularly in the rural areas, they go and defile the girls and they just give money to the parents and then they throw every dirty under the carpet. And they don't know that actually they're protected. They're protected by the law. So anyone who is in school is the number one priority in terms of protection. And so can we make sure that every child goes to school and then they're protected? And you know that those who go to school, even marriage they delay. Those are the ones that when they find a job, they find a well-paying job that they can take care of the children. So instead of you giving handouts to people in the villages, you give them an education and they will have the food, the wealth and the resources that they need. You unlock them. When you unlock their resources, I tell you, you are giving them the best thing that you can ever give to someone. Rather than going there and give chitenges, give chibuku and the like, and then you think you are helping the community. Education is the best empowerment. And that's why we are building this secondary school for girls in Chama. And now I was showing you by the villagers molded 120,000 bricks on their own. They put them in the queues, and I was showing you that this now at the ring beam level, we just need a bit of more cement. We have run out of cement for us to finish, and the villagers are there on the ground to do the work. I was so impressed. I was so tight. I said, by the grace of God, let's push for this. Once we have got a boarding house there, not girls to be renting houses, because that's where they're molested. by boys, they are molested by teachers, by the villagers, because they're trying to find a way of how they can enrich themselves with education. But the circumstance, the situation doesn't allow. What can we do about it? As communities, let's do something. I don't want you, Pastor, just to sit there. No, God bless you. That's what James was against. Don't just say God bless you. Do something about it. I need a bed where a girl can sleep. I need just some iron sheets where they can be able to sleep. The chief has given us land, big land. They can do cultivation there. They don't need even to pay for school fees. They just need to make themselves work there and support themselves. And you know, Chama has got beautiful rice, the best rice ever in the world. Not even Bembaland can be able to miss it. It's the best rice ever. Oh, too bad. I tell you, Chama rice has got nice aroma. And the girls can be able to cultivate that and sponsor themselves.